You guys want to see what springtime in Montana looks like? It is April 5th, 2022. Let's go out and see the beautiful, beautiful spring weather. So, living out here, it's a bit rough. It's hard to believe that it's April 5th. I've got to get some firewood because tonight it's supposed to get down to 5 degrees. I'm going to hijack some firewood from our neighbor. It's our wood-burning stove, the Blaze King. The funny thing is, this is way too hot to even touch right here, but this is a 8-inch flue pipe. I saw this in Cottonwood, Arizona in an antique store for $450, and we're using it. Well, hey guys, welcome to this Nomadic Idea show where we talk the uncensored truth about living full-time life on the road, whether it's in an RV, schoolie van, it doesn't make any difference. If you are thinking about living life on the road full-time, this show is for you. We are Scott Ariane from this Nomadic Idea. Every Sunday night, we talk about the uncensored truth about living full-time life on the road. It is not easy, and it's certainly not an Instagram reel or photograph. We tell you the truth about it. You can always catch our show every Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel, and you can catch the audio version, which is always different, on thisnomadicidea.com, episode 29, or you can catch it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, any of your favorite pod catchers. Our 29th show, we talk about to RV or not to RV. That is the question. In this episode, we ask the question whether this is the best time to hit the road. So much negativity going on with the economy and everything else. Is this a good time to hit the road? We reveal the top question we get asked about to RV or not to RV this year. Is fear a factor for you? Is that why you're not going? We address that. What is the most important single question you should be asking yourself in 2022 before you hit the road? It's an important question that you should be asking yourself. To V or not to RV? That is the question. Let's get going.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Shall we begin? Let's begin. Shall we begin?
For some, buying a rugged van is really expensive. It's hugely expensive. In our last show, we talked about debt. Why this may not be a great time to go in debt. That is why we partnered with Escape Campervans. Hey, you don't need to own an expensive camper to have an adventure. Escape Campervans inspire people to escape their everyday routines and embrace their adventures by exploring world in campervans. It's a beautiful world out there. Rent one this year and come up to Yellowstone and explore the beauty of Wyoming, Montana. Come up to Cook City and say hello. We're going to be here. pull your camper van right up next to us. That's Escape Campervans. I'm going to put a link right on this episode so you can go check it out for yourself and see if Escape Campervans is something that you want to try. It sure is a heck of a lot cheaper than spending $150 to $200,000 on a ProMaster van. That is for sure. So our last episode we talked about the debt storm possibly coming. If this is a good time to go into huge debt. However, this shouldn't stop anyone who is thinking about hitting the road. And let's talk about this. Let's kind of delve into why or why not this may or may not be a good time. And that's a decision that you are going to have to make on your own. So first, look, anytime is a good time to hit the road. Good economy, bad economy, inflation, high, low inflation. And in our opinion, any time is a good time to go. I think the difference is how you plan for that and what you should be planning to achieve that goal, right? Because it really is all about achieving a goal. What do you want to get out of it? What do you want to do? What do you want to get out about hitting the road or living in an RV full time or living the van life full time? What do you want to get out of it? What is the end game for that? And so, we talk about having a plan and having a budget, which is a lot more critical this year or in this time of our economy, because gas prices aren't cheap, food prices aren't cheap. RV parks are getting more expensive, harder to find. I think it's even more important now to understand what a travel budget could be in your life. With the uncertainty of fuel prices, knowing that we are in the middle of price rising and it doesn't look like it's going down anytime soon. Just having a planned budget, but a planned budget that's flexible. So in other words, you say, okay, we're going to spend this much money here, but what if we want to go do this? Or what if we want to go do that? And I think that you have to plan for that flexibility, because I can tell you, and we've talked about this on the show before, and I think we even talked about it on our 1-year anniversary video that we did, that nothing goes to plan. Nothing. You spend a little bit more on food, or you spend a little bit more on some adventure that you didn't know or you didn't even think about you wanted to do when you plan for this big trip on the road, or this big, huge 2-year exploration in an RV. So things happen. Things happen. Not only do you have to have an emergency fund, in our opinion, but you kind of have to plan a little bit for the unexpected. There's going to be things you don't spend money on. There's going to be things that you want to go spend the money on. But having that flexibility in your budget, so important. And of course, we think that savings and emergency funds are even more important than they were a few years ago. But you can't live in fear. That's the thing. You can't live in, well, I'm going to wait until the economy gets better. Well, I'm going to wait until next year. I'm going to wait until this happens. I'm going to wait until all the conditions are perfect to go. Because if that's what you're planning, you may never hit the road. You may never go. We know personally about that, because that was one of our things when we were building our savings. We weren't living in the conditions where we weren't living in ideal conditions. We were. Ariane was working full-time. I was working full-time. We were living in an area in Atlanta, Georgia that we didn't really want to live in. But we were compromising, and we kept on saying, well, when we save more money, at some point, we're done. And we're just done. And we just decided to leave, like, pretty quick. And so I think you can't live in that fear of, like, well, when is the best time to go? Because really, every day is the best time to go, and you're never going to have a perfect situation in your life where, all the planets are going to line up. That's just not the way, life works. We did a whole podcast about facing your fear, about, for nomad that are traveling solo. So go check out that episode. We give like 7 tips on, working through fear, facing your fear, especially as a solo traveler. There's so many of them out there. And when you first hit the road, you do have some trepidation, you do have some fear. So check out, it was 7 tips about not living in fear, and to overcome it when you're traveling solo. And even as a couple, Ariane and I have plenty of fears. She has fears, I have fears, we have fears as a couple. So we tell you a little bit about that. This is a time that, specifically right now, that it's not a good time to be investing a lot in the news. You cannot let the bad news of what's going on in either the country or the world, and there's plenty of that, to keep you from living your dream. Bad news is all around us, and there's a lot of money to be made in bringing you bad news. If world news came out and said everything was great today, hey, no worries. You turn off the channel. So there's an investment in bad news. So don't let the news overcome you and say, I can't go. Oh my God, the world is falling apart. I can't, I'm not going to hit the road. We're not going to hit the road. Turn off the news, because you can't let that stop you from living your life. You cannot make good decisions about the future when you let the negativity of the news, of people, of events, of geopolitical things that are going on. You can't let that keep you from living your life. You just can't. Otherwise, you're gonna wake up one day and say, where did 10 years go? I was waiting for everything to be normal. I don't think, normal is a perspective that is relative depending on who's looking at it, right? So, in my opinion, I don't think normal is not a bench line. It's not a single benchmark. Normal is like a floating wave that goes up and down. So, and usually you're in the boat rocking back and forth, and sometimes it's a tidal wave. So, don't let fear grip you, to live your life, and talk to people who are living the nomad life. That's the thing. Talk to people that are out there. They're doing it. They'll tell you, we don't travel as much because of this, or what, we adjusted and now we're doing this and this, and so high gas prices aren't affecting us as much anymore, or we've done this, or we've changed that. Those are the people that you should be listening to. If you're going to live a full-time life, full-time on the road, then listen to people that are living out there full-time, not part-time, not the popular ones, but the people that, have all the views, or, all the likes, big popular Instagram accounts, the people that are in the trenches living a full-time life on the road all the time. Did a video on that too. There's nothing wrong with part-time travel, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it. And in fact, right now there's probably a pretty good strategy in it. So you have to set that lifestyle, you have to set that pace yourself. Only you know what you want. But if it's part-time, if you're thinking, well, I want to go out there part-time, that's great. No one has to say you have to be full-time. Nobody. So talk to those people. How are they doing it? But fuel your dream with information, with good information, so you can make good decisions. Do your research. It's absolutely it's so important to not only is it important to do research, but it's your responsibility. It's you have self responsibility that you have to take charge of your life. No one's going to take charge of your life for you other than you. If I hear people, not as much anymore, but maybe in my past, that would say, well, I want the white picket fence. Well, to get the white picket fence, you have to build the white picket fence. And so, because there's not enough money you will ever have in your life to buy that picket fence for you, because in the end it was somebody else's picket fence. You want a white picket fence, you want, to live your dream and to live that life that you want, then you are going to have to work at it and take responsibility for it. So, to make good and smart decisions about your life, you have to take responsibility and do your due diligence, so you give yourself better than average chance of making a good decision based on what you want. That's important. What you want, not somebody else's adventure, but your own adventure. It's great to watch someone's adventure. It's great to live vicariously through somebody else's eyes. But if you want it, if that's what you want, then go be your own adventure. Don't put weight into that, in somebody else's stuff, because I can guarantee you your life is going to be completely different than what they experience. What they experience is great. What they did is great. How they did whatever they did is great, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So to RV or not to RV, to hit the road or not to hit the road. We say this: go, have a plan, be smart, know what you're getting yourself into, but don't wait for circumstances to be perfect. Go, but be smart, have common sense, know that it's not going to be rosy, know that it's not going to be the same as that person you watched, that you post every day. Oh my God, I'm going to do it. You inspired me. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. But you had better do your research, because your situation is not going to be like their situation. The number one question we get all the time, it's whether it's a good time to travel. Because they watch the news, and because they're getting spooked, and because they have fears, which are legitimate fears, by the way. Those fears are not to be taken lightly. And everyone has their own trepidation about, the what if. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if? And that's another thing. You'll never be able to plan for enough what ifs in your life. Never. Not with anything. When we teach backpacking, well, what if I run into this? Well, what if this happens? What if it rains? Well, if it rains, you're going to get wet. RVing is the same way. What if I get a flat tire on the road? Well, then you're going to have to get out and change it. Have expectations. So we answer that question with this. Is this a good time to travel or not? Should we wait? That's what it was. Should we wait? And our short answer is no. Wait for what? Life is short, man. We don't. This life we have, it's not a dress rehearsal. We don't get a second chance. So, no, don't wait. But have a plan. Be smart. Do your due diligence. Time is precious, and don't waste that time thinking, I'm going to wait for everything to be hunky-dory. I'm going to wait for gas prices to go down. I'm going to wait for food prices to go down. I'm going to wait for this. I'm going to wait for that. Well, what if it never happens? If you got to spend a little bit more money in gas, well, that means you might just have to save a little bit more. That's what it might mean. But go live your life. Go out there. As we said in our last show, it may not be a good time to overextend your debt to live that life. That may be a common sense question, or a logical question that you ask yourself based on your life, your financial situation, and who you are and what your goal is. So if you say, well, I'm going to go and hit the road for 2 years, that's all I'm going to do, that's 24 months. Well, then you ask yourself, what's going to happen when I'm done? What's my financial situation? And going up $200,000 in debt for 24 months, is that something I can afford? If it's not, well, then that's your answer right there. But you have to make sure that you know what your situation is to go do it. So our answer is, the short answer is no. Go. Life is short, and life is precious. The long answer, of course, what do you want to personally get out of it? What's your goal? You are going to be a nomad, home on wheels. You have to figure out what that lifestyle is. How do you want to travel? Is it in a van? Is it an RV? Is it a schoolie? Do you want to renovate a schoolie? Might be, if you have kids, that might be the way to go. Is off-roading something like? Where do you want to stay? Do you want to stay at campgrounds? Do you want to dry camp? Do you like living with amenities? Do you not like living in amenities? Does it bother you that you may not take a shower for a week? All these questions you ask yourself based on conditions for you, whether you should hit the road right now or not, and then move ahead with common sense solutions to whatever problems or whatever fears that you write down or you talk about. If you are a solo traveler, definitely talk to someone and bounce ideas back and forth. Do this with your best friend. Your best friend probably knows you better than you know yourself. These are my fears. This is what I want to do. This is my goal. This is what blah 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 blah, and come up with you cannot go a day without taking a shower. You. And now you're going to hit the road and you think you're never going to take a shower again? Really? So, know who you are. Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. Know who you are. That might help plan your lifestyle. As far as leaving, staying, should I go? Should I not go? Should I wait? There's no simple answer to that other than, make sure you're not wasting your life away waiting for the perfect situation. Make sure you know what to do. Make sure you know what you want to get out of it. What do you want to get out of full-time travel? Here's why we did it. Our goal, and it still is, remains the goal, and it's not an end goal, perhaps, but we just wanted to live a free lifestyle. That's it. Pretty simple. We just didn't want to be in any specific location for any specific reason, and we certainly didn't want to put ourselves in an area where we were slave to somebody else paying us a paycheck. We love the outdoors. We love nature. We love hiking and backpacking. It's one of the reasons why we stayed in Yellowstone, and we've made that work for us. And plans have certainly changed for us, but our goal has remained the same. We've been able to do everything we've wanted to do. Has there been setbacks? Yes. Has there been adjustments that we've had to make? Absolutely. Has it all been in an RV? No. No, the RV is the transport device in which we get to live this lifestyle. But do we have to be slave to our RV? No, we don't, and we're not in debt with it either. You see kind of how that works, right? So we have that freedom that we don't have to make payments on $250,000 camper or $50,000 camper, whatever, right? And have it stored, but then having to make $250, $350 a month payments on that, and say, oh my God, we're wasting our money. that's freedom that we're looking for, and that enables us to make decisions based on our lifestyle. So that's our goal. We've maintained that goal, and that's what we're still doing. We're still doing that today. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. You can check out the rest of the podcast on This Nomadic Idea on episode 29, where you can listen to how we are pushing through our own fears right now and struggles as we decide if our lifestyle here in Montana is worth the risk. I kind of shared a little bit about that just now, but we go into a lot more detail about it in the podcast. We'll see you next Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we share the uncensored truth about living this full-time life on the road. We'll see you later. Bye, you guys.